This young lady lives in San Antonio, Texas, made a decision. There's that word again. Made a decision, David in-law. She made a decision. She made a decision. She was tired of being a locksmith. She wanted to be an entrepreneur. She's always been a go-getter. She's always been one to say, I'm going to go get it and make it happen. She's a fun size. I love when she talked about her size. She's a fun size. She was just in Dallas with us this past weekend. I had a chance to get a hug from her, say hello to her. I had to run by her real quick. I had to apologize because I'm trying to get the co-founder and meet my new guys. These guys were 25 years in network marketing that the organization crew brought in. And she is just an amazing leader. She took it upon herself asked Tony Cooper to come to part of Texas. She said, I don't care. I'll fill it up. And so that's what I'm talking about, a leader. She didn't know how she was going to do it, but she did it. She didn't worry about it. She just did it. So you guys need to make a commitment and just do it. Whoa, my God, just Art Williams, just do it. So without further ado, from San Antonio, Texas, I got a chance to see her this weekend in Dallas, Texas. She's a little piece of leather, but she's well put together. She's a dynamo. She is like a Tasmanian devil with heels on. She just goes circle around, and she just no quitting her. I love her. She got no quit in her. Without further ado, all the way from San Antonio, Texas, the one and only great regional vice president. On the way to regional vice president, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. The great and the one and only Miss Roxann Corralejo.
My goodness, thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I love that what you said. Regional Vice President on my way. Yes, I will be there. Definitely the event was great. I loved seeing you. Everybody else that I saw there was just phenomenal. One of the best things about going to these things, you guys, is being able to hug and talk to people like Mr. Thomas and everybody else that was there. It's just such a great experience. And now these events like emerge, even though there were a lot of people there, it's smaller than these huge nationals we used to do before COVID. I never got a chance to see anybody except way from a distance. And now I get to sit and talk to people and hang out with them and sit and talk to Mr. Kupis or Mr. Thomas and hugs and pictures. And it's just so phenomenal. So I love that you guys were there. I love that I got a chance to see you. Thank you so much for making that effort I did get away from Mr. Thomas, but he made sure he came back and gave me a hug and we had a little chit chat. Made me even more excited to be on this call today. And one of the great things about these events is that you get to meet people. So Christine Blitz is in California and she wasn't on this call, but I do want to highlight her for being the amazing work that she's done these past few weeks and got close to the competition that Mr. Thomas gave us. And I met her at an event. Because we live so far away, I would have never known her if it wasn't for the both of us attending events. And as sweet as she is, not knowing who she is and hitting these promotions I did so quickly and early on in this business, she came up to me, she congratulated me, she loved on me. She was just like, you are amazing, you're so great. She'd been in this business for so long. This is a complete stranger. We're half family that I can't even get on internet. And this lady is so phenomenal. So that's why she's doing so well, you guys, because she does attend these events and she looks out and supports for everyone else. And that's kind of part of my topic today. My topic is total commitment and what it takes to be committed and totally committed. I want to tell a little story about what happened this weekend. So it was right after the event. We're hanging out. Mr. Thomas, Dean Trolley says, hey, I'm bringing Tony Kupis out. So we all hang out for a quick second and he's talking to me and he was like, all right, well, next event is Costa Mesa. Well, Costa Mesa is halfway across the country for me. But he was like, we're going to Costa Mesa without even asking if I'm going to be there. He just says, all right, we got to put something together. We got to host another competition or event, something that you need to beat. And I'm like, oh man, okay. So there wasn't even an ask because he knows, okay, if we're going to be there, Roxann's going to be there. That is part of being committed, is that people are depending on you and know that you're going to be there. And he says, I want to run a yacht. Let's do something in Costa Mesa. Let's run a yacht. Let's get people out there. Let's have something. And I said, okay, out comes my mouth. What do I have to do for this to happen? He didn't even say that I had to do anything, but I already said, all right, I got to do something. I got to be committed. And then the first thing that comes out of my mouth was, oh crap. Oh crap, because I already committed to something without even knowing what that commitment was. Dean Trolley is in the background and he's laughing so hard. And he's like, oh my goodness, because he knows me. He knows my personality. He knows if I set my mind to something, it's going to get done. I don't know what that is yet. He said him and Dean are going to have to talk about it because Mr. Kupis was a little confused. He was like, what do you mean, oh crap? Well, what did I miss? And Dean's laughing because he knows that I already committed to something that I don't know what I committed to. So total commitment is huge. Do you have that total commitment to be there for your team? And the first thing I'm thinking of is not being able to hang out on the yacht with Mr. Kupis, but to be able to bring all of you, everybody. And I'm thinking, all right, what is this going to be? How can I bring everybody else? How can we hang out? And how can everybody get to see what I have been able to see just by opening my mouth, just by asking those questions? Because once you are in front of these people, all you got to do is open your mouth, ask the questions. When are you going to come out? Well, how can we help my team? That's all it is opening your mouth. So first thing I wanted to do is talk about the word commitment itself. Looking up in the dictionary, we had a couple definitions, and I want to go through them and see how well we can stick to these. The first one was pretty simple. First definition I came up with was a strong belief in an idea or system. Now, most of us, how many of us are on this call? We have 57, almost 60 people on this call right now. We're on this call almost daily for the most part. So we already know we have that belief in this system. We have that belief in ACN. We're committed. We're on these calls. Most of us go to these events. I love seeing all these faces on here, whether it's pictures or real life, because now I know who you are when I meet you in person. The first person I saw from a distance was Catherine, and I'm waving at her, and she smiles and she waves back at me because I know her because of these calls. So being able to have that belief, most of us already do. Those people that don't make that commitment to be on these calls, we already know their belief system isn't strong. So it is our job to help them believe, help them see what we see. The second definition says something which regularly takes up some of your time because of an agreement you had made or because of responsibility that you have. So something that takes up your time. Now, how many of us know that work takes up time? Work in ACN or anything that we do takes up time, but it's not only the time that it takes up because of a responsibility that we have, because of a promise that we made. Now, for those of us that are actively building a team, that's that promise, that commitment we made to our team, that we're going to show up, that we're going to be there for them. Another definition which kind of resembles that, it says, do something you promise that you will do. Now, how many people have promised that they were going to hit an ETL promotion, had promised that they were going to hit a regional coordinator by a second date and didn't do it? That made that promise that they were going to be a regional director and didn't do it. A lot of us, and I know I'm in that same boat. I'm a victim of it myself. Some things I hit, my regional director I hit, my executive team leader I hit, but why am I not regional vice president yet? Why am I not fulfilling to what Mr. Thomas almost said and called me a regional vice president? Why have I not gotten there yet? And it's that promise not only that we make to other people that we're going to show up, that promise that we're going to help them succeed, that we're going to help them through these bonuses and through these promotions, but it's also the promise we make to ourselves. A lot of us forget that. The promises we make to everybody else, we like to fulfill, but what about to ourselves? Now, a quick story about my nephew. Growing up, my sister and his dad, they had split. And I know my nephew didn't get to see a lot of his father, and I see this a lot happen when families split, said he was going to be there. He's in his little backpack and he's waiting for his dad and he's excited to spend time with him, but then he doesn't show up. It's a promise that he made to my nephew that he was going to be there, and how disappointed he was. That sadness to see on his face and how hurt he was because his dad did not fulfill that promise he made to him. Well, I know sometimes that happens to me. When I make a promise to myself, I get disappointed in myself. I get hurt in myself. So it's not only those promises that we make to everybody else, it's that we make in ourselves as well. We have to stay committed to. And that's the one person that loses out when we make promises, when we make these commitments, is you. Because yeah, we do hurt other people. And for the most part, I know myself, I will go above and beyond for other people. When it comes to me, I'm more relaxed. And it should not be that way, you guys. A commitment has to be for yourself as well. And then the last definition, it says the process of officially sending someone to prison or a hospital. Maybe I went a little far on that one. But when we get so committed and we dive into something, and people like to use that word obsessed. I don't like to use that word, but when we get so involved in ACN, our families sometimes think we do need to get committed. They sometimes want to send us to the hospital, right? So maybe that one does fit. But being committed, that total commitment, is being committed not only to other people, but being committed to yourself and the promises that we make. in the obligations or agreements that we make with other people. Signing that contract with ACN, we made that agreement that we're going to get to work, that we can be independent, that we don't need a boss to watch over us. We don't need to ask for time off. We don't need any of these things. We want that time freedom. We want that fulfillment to be able to do whatever it is that we want, but we got to show up for ourselves to be able to get that. So right before this event was a little difficult for me to get to because I didn't know if I was going to go. So part of being committed is following through with what you're going to say you're going to do, which is why I told nobody I was going to be there, because I didn't know if I was going to be there. What happened a couple weeks prior? So I've been doing a lot of traveling and other adventures that I'm doing, my own businesses outside of ACN. And I had a lot going on, a lot of traveling. I had just been exhausted. I was beat. There were a couple days. I took 4 flights in 2 days because of layovers and cancellations in flights and getting stuck in airports for 12 hours. I was on no sleep for like 3 days straight. It was rough. I get home, I'm exhausted. I lay down. 3 hours from laying down, I get a phone call that I answer. It's my sister out in California. And she says, you need to come home. Grandpa's not doing well. We don't know how long he's going to make it. First thing I did, I'm wiping my eyes. I'm still trying to wake up, and I book a flight to California because I have that flexibility to book the very next flight. It didn't matter how much it cost. It didn't matter what was going on the next day. That afternoon, that flight was booked. And so I went to go hang out with my family. And my grandfather, we did not know how long he had. I assisted with end-of-life care. And unfortunately, this is the 4th time I've had to do that. And I'm under 40, and it's not fun, but it takes a lot out of you emotionally. Strength. It's a lot to do end of life care for family. It really is. But we had a great community of family around us. And it was a great opportunity to get to hang out with my cousins and my sisters and stuff a lot more, but be there for someone that some people don't get the opportunity to do. And because of this opportunity, because of the mindset that I have now, everybody's asking me, what is it that you do? How can you be here? First question is, thank you for being here. How long can you stay? And I said, as long as I'm needed, as long as this is happening, I'm going to be here. I booked a one-way flight. Now, how many of us can say that we can do that? Or how many of us are committed to family that are willing and able to do that? So I was able to do that. And my grandfather did pass, which is why I made it to the event. I was at his funeral. And then the next day I was on a flight to Dallas. That is how commitment works. I booked that flight. As soon as I knew the dates of the services, that flight was booked. I did not commit to it to anybody, but once I did, I called Douglas Soto and I said, all right, Doug, I'm coming out. And he was so stoked because we were able to experience this event together. I called my team. I let them know I was coming. But that's how committed we have to be, not only in ourselves, in our family, in God, but also in our team. We have to support our team the way that we want to be supported as well. One thing I do want to talk about is the first step to being committed is to know what we're working towards, know what our end goal is. If we set a commitment to something, we want to know what we're getting out of it. It's selfish, I know, but it really is. We want to know what that end goal is. And a lot of people focus on money. And if you ask a lot of people, what is the most valuable asset out there? What is the most valuable thing out there? And a lot of people will say money. Why? Because we need money to live. We need money to do these things we want to do. We need money to support our family, to take them on vacations, for that financial freedom, but also that time freedom. Money is what we needed. But if asked, if I gave you $1 million today, $10 million today, if you were to receive $10 million today, but you got to die tomorrow, would you take it? How many of us would take it? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. So time is more valuable than money. Absolutely. But what if I told you, okay, I get that. What if I give you $1 million today, $10 million, $100 million today, but you have to be sick for the rest of your life? How many of you would take that? Now, some are thinking, well, how sick are we talking about? Just horribly, horribly sick. You can't get out of bed. No, because there's no quality of life there. Nobody would take that. So health is more valuable than money. What if I gave you $100 million, but your mom has to die tomorrow? How many of us would take that? Absolutely not. I would pay $100 million to get my mom back for a day. So relationships are more valuable than money. So what we got to do when we're talking to these people, these new reps that are coming on board, and I hear so much, and I know it didn't drive me, but I hear so many people are talking about that we need 5 services, $200, 5 services, $200, 5 services, $200. $200 doesn't drive a lot of people. We have to figure out what drives them. What is their end goal? What do they want from this? What do they want from their freedom? They want to be able to fly halfway across the country the moment they get a phone call to support family? I had someone, this is the very first question I ask when launching someone before we even go over the compensation plan is I find their end goal. I ask, what is it that you want? What is it that your goal? What are we reaching towards right now? What's a short-term goal? And he says, I need a new car. Roxann, this is so unreliable. I need a new car. And I said, great, what kind of car? So as we're getting services, as we're talking to people, and I was like, oh my goodness, we got another service. That is a wheel. We need 3 more wheels. Let's go. We got to work towards what they want, what their end goal is. Because I know for me, you tell me, let's do something for $200. I'm like, I'm going to stay in bed. I am not getting up for $200, but that's not what we're working towards. We're working towards that end goal, whatever it is for you. So it's not money that's the most valuable thing. It's fulfillment. It's time. It's relationships. It's whatever keeps us fulfilled. So we have to work towards that for our team as well. So one thing I want you guys to do is we talk to new people this week, this month, every time we talk, find out what we call it the reason why, but find out their purpose. What are they working towards? What is it that they want to accomplish short-term in life and long-term in life? And that is how we're going to talk to them to find out how this vehicle can help them get there. Because I know when I was little, I did not say, I want to be the top healthcare salesperson in the world. That is not my goal. But to be able to provide end-of-life care for family, that definitely means a lot more to me than anything else out there. And this vehicle can help me get there. So what is their goal? What do they want to do? And what can help them get there? Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I am looking forward to talking about this topic for the rest of this month because it means so much to me. And it's so much more than just the word commitment. There's so much more to it. So thank you so much.
Wow.